I will say it again. SEO, yep, it's terrific if you have an established site. Email marketing is flippin' fantastic if you have a list. Paid advertising rocks the socks, just like I said in the last episode, if you have a tested and optimized funnel. Oh, and if you have an ad budget. But what if you don't? What if your website's brand new? What if you don't want to take 10 months to build the content and the links and everything to bring in that SEO traffic? And what if you have no list that you can turn to? And last but not least, what if you're on a shoestring budget? How can you bring in traffic to your brand new website? Well, stay tuned and find out even more methods than you heard in the last episode.
Being an entrepreneur sounds like, yes, another new client. I did it. But it can also sound like, I am really not understanding this technology, and I'm feeling so overwhelmed. Am I even cut out for this? That's why I started the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast, to help infopreneurs, coaches, and course creators who want to build a business online but are battling technology, overwhelm, procrastination, and even imposter syndrome. Think successfully, think differently, think bigger, and take action by learning tips from an array of business owners, all dropping knowledge on the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast. Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
What is up? What is up? What the hell is up, my Dark Horse friends and family? Welcome back to another dose of free traffic method learning marketing. Yeah, I'm your Dark Horse host, Tracy Raymond, and I've been in that coaching, course creation, online space since the 90s. So I got a little bit of experience under my belt. Yet here I am, still every single day learning. And I want to share with you what I have learned and what I'm still learning about course creation, coaching, entrepreneurship, and more specifically, infopreneurship. So that begs the question, who are you? Well, that, my friend, to me is infinitely more important. You are a driven entrepreneur, more specifically, an infopreneur with or seeking a coaching and online course model in your business. Or perhaps you're just hoping to have that very, very soon. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, or just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, or business tips and results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. So that's why I'm here hitting you with another solo success episode coming to you straight from the Dark Horse Entrepreneur HQ as we dive into your infopreneurship and course creation success with actionable advice, tips, and steps designed to help you level up your game. Why? Because we already know there are no shortcuts to success except for taking those little steps towards your goal every single day. All right, so in the last episode 350, I shared with you 5 free traffic methods that are really, really good for brand new sites. And if you haven't heard that one, please go on back and check that one out. But here's a brief synopsis. Method number 1 I shared was to do expert roundup posts. Method number 2 was to do expert articles. Method number 3 was to partner with other content creators, and I gave some great examples for that. Method number 4 was giveaways, contests, promotions. You've all seen them. They're very, very popular. I gave some more examples in that. And method number 5 is a little less used one, which was push notifications. And I can help you with that if you're looking for it. But let's get into the next 5 methods, all right? So you're trying all those ones there. You're starting to see the traffic trickle in. You're like, Tracy, give me more, give me more, give me more. All right, let me hit you with one that may sound a little confusing. Method number 6, free paid ads. Wait, what? Did he say free paid ads? Yeah, I did. You know, in many cases, you can look at Google AdWords and they will give you $50 or even $100 in free ad spend. Just Google it. Literally, Google AdWords about the free ad spend, and you'll find tons of offers out there. Use this to get you started. This will give you a quick hit, a quick boost in traffic. And if you get some sales from this free, he says with air quotes, paid traffic, then you can use those profits and dip them right back into paid ads without ever having to spend your own money. And that's the magic right there. That one is really super simple. But again, you want to be a little bit specific about your paid ads. There's a few tricks. There's a 3-tiered method I chat about, and I can't remember the name of the episode. I will try and dig that up and put it down in the show notes that you can use. Anyway, method number 7, I want you to be controversial. All right, so this one sounds simple, but here's how it works. And what you're going to do really is going to depend upon your niche, your views, and your audience. But the goal here, the objective, is to polarize an issue without really crossing the line where you're completely obnoxious. You don't want to do that, right? But you want to take a stand in what you believe in, but back it up with facts and stories. And then, my friend, let the sparks fly. See, many new marketers out there, like I come across, they think it's best to never offend, no matter what. And this is why most of them are about as boring as watching paint dry or grass grow. And that's why no one pays attention to them. Now, when you take a stand, you will find you're going to have 2 camps. Over here in one camp will be those that agree with you, and over in the other camp, obviously those that disagree with you. Those who agree with you will become your ardent followers, and they will spread the word about you to others, thus sending you traffic. Now, on the other side of the camp, those that really disagree with you will weigh in with their opinions, creating discussions, and yes, sending you traffic. Look, don't get me wrong here. I get it. It takes guts to have a strong opinion, but it's also one of the fastest ways to build your audience as well as your traffic. All right, on to method number 8, guest posting. Hold on, bear with me here. Before you poo-poo this one, I have seen completely unknown marketers earn 6 figures from scratch simply using this tactic of guest posting. If you can get your posts onto the major blogs that are out there, then you will be driving a ton of traffic back to your own website where you can build your email list and your offer products. Now, the problem that most of you are going to face is that a blog, for example, the Huffington Post, isn't going to accept just anyone to write a post. Well, I can hear you now. Well, then how do I get through to these coveted and even profitable golden gates of blogdom? Well, the secret here is that what you really need to know is, well, I guess the real secret is you're going to go in through the outdoor, or maybe kind of go in through the side door, right? And here's what I mean by that. Find one of those blogs or one of those websites that you really feel that your content just vibes. You know, this is my tribe. This is my perfect audience. If I could get on this website, I just know I would be delivering value. Then what I want you to do is find a writer on that website that you want to guest post on. Now, I really want this to be a writer that you truly enjoy reading with, someone you just feel that vibe with, and then communicate with that writer. Let them know that you love their stuff. Give them some examples of how you've instituted some of their tips or tactics, right? Give them some helpful ideas and tips to further improve on their already great posts. Share news with them that they can continue to write about. In other words, basically what you're doing is you're building a relationship with one of the writers on each of the websites where you want to be, where you want to guest post. Now, once you've made friends with the writer, ask them for an introduction to their editor, and you're in the door. Bing, bang, boom, right? An editor is much more likely to welcome you into the fold if you're recommended by the writer that they already know. Now, here's the downside. It's going to take some time, right? It takes time to build a relationship with the writers. It takes time to build a relationship with anyone. But here's the thing. A good relationship that you've built is totally worth it. Even in this case, once you do a good job of guest posting on that blog or that website, you'll be able to guest post anytime you want and drive even more traffic. And if your writer friend or now your editor connection that you've made likes it and they're on other blogs or know people on other blogs, which it's a small universe, as you know, and whatever your niche is, you know a circle of friends they will be able to connect you with their circle of friends, introducing you to those editors as well on other websites. And you'll be able to return the favor too by eventually introducing your writer friends to the editors of other blogs. So it really becomes this reciprocity, right? Now, here's the cool thing. I cannot overstate just how much traffic you could gain by using this one method. If I go way back, we're going way back when blogs first started, there was a website called eZine Articles. I believe it was eZineArticles.com. And I wrote a ton of articles and put them up on this website. And what this website would do is these eZines were super popular. I had 3, as a matter of fact, with I think a total email list of about 14,000 people altogether. And so I was taking these articles and putting them on my eZine, obviously, first, and then taking this content and maybe tweaking it a bit and putting it up on this website. And people were grabbing articles from this website, and all they had to do was make sure my bio was at the end of the article. And I got lots and lots. That's how I built that list up to 14,000 people. So I cannot overstate how much traffic you can gain using this method. I actually know one fellow in the online marketing niche who was completely unknown, like crickets in the field. And I won't use the sound effect right now. And he focused on all of his efforts just on guest posting for 6 months, driving traffic back to his own website where he was capturing email addresses and adding even more great content, right? He was building on the content he was putting out there in other places, bringing them to my website, and then just enhancing that. Within as little as a year, if it was just under a year, this guy was earning 6 figures. Within 2 years, he was close to earning 7 figures, thanks to the traffic he was able to bring to his own site using guest posting. Effort well spent, effort well earned. All right, method number 9, comment on other blogs in your industry. And this can be used in multiple arenas, but we're going to talk about blogs here for a minute. Leaving detailed comments that provide the author and the readers some additional helpful tips, some additional information, bits of advice, and anything of value. Please hear me, that part is very important. You want to leave information of value, something that you feel is worthwhile that you can contribute, right? And when you leave that comment, generally on these websites, you'll be asked for your name and website URL. People who like your comments, a lot of them are going to click your URL and go check out your website. Wow, that guy had some great advice. Let me go check this guy out. You've probably done it yourself. Now, I would also take this one step further, and you could do this on your social media. So, for instance, in Facebook, and now we see. Let me back up for a quick second. All of us who have websites or have social media groups, say Facebook groups, we've seen those trolls that come in and just pepper the comments with spam. And the reason they do that is they know a certain percentage of people are going to react to it. And the reason that happens is because of people in those comments and are reading them. And the spammers know that a certain percent of them are, even though it's a spam, some of them are going to go over. But if you add value, well, the percent of folks that are going to go over and pay attention to that commentary are a lot higher. So don't be a spammer. It works on your social media profiles. For example, like I was mentioning, in a Facebook group, if you see a question or a comment or a thread going on and you can add value to it, go in there, right? Spend a couple of minutes adding that value. Now, I would not urge you to put a URL in there. Here's what will happen. If they get value from your content, a lot of times they'll click on your face or whatever your profile picture is, and they'll go to your profile and check it out. Now, from your profile, you'll want to have a link to your website. A little extra step, but it works the same way as the blogs do. Now, as a quick story to help prove this method, many of us have heard of a little website called Mashable. Yeah? Okay. Now, when its founder was just starting off, this was the exact method that he used to grow his site's massive popularity. So yes, this technique still works even today. And if you don't have the time to leave those helpful comments, then you can always outsource it to someone else to do it for you. But again, let's not make them spammers, okay? All right, last but not least, method number 10. Get interviewed. Do you realize nowadays that a single interview can result in massive traffic, which could have, of course, released a massive amount of sales? I've seen certain marketers close 6-figure deals that come from the right person hearing them at the right time when they were being interviewed. I've heard of folks closing 4 or 5-figure deals. I don't want to say 6 because I can't quote that one, but I know at least 5-figure deals from them having someone where they were interviewing the person and they were like, I can help you with that, and close the deal. And thanks to the internet, the interview that you do today can be listened to for months and years to come, providing not just one burst of traffic, but an ongoing long-tailed stream of traffic for a long time to come. Now, multiply this by the numerous interviews that you can do over time, and you can bring in an astonishing amount of new traffic to your site. Here's one of the cool things about the traffic that will be coming to your site is that this traffic will have just listened to your interview. So this traffic is really, if not half more, or maybe 100% pre-sold on you as the expert, on you as the go-to guy or gal in whatever topic you were discussing. So they're half sold already on the offer that you want to make. So I know I can hear it now. The question is, how do you get interviewed? Some may say I'm going to oversimplify this answer, but the secret can be found in a little 3-letter word. Ask. There it is. You just ask. Find the podcasters who are out there interviewing people in your space and ask them if they want to interview you. Now, let me give you a little bit of extra insight here. What I'm not saying you should do is create some sort of canned, impersonal, this is who I am, rah email about how amazing of a person or skill set owner you are. No. What I would suggest you do is follow the next 2 steps. Step 1, ask them for a quote. For example, if we go back to the experts roundup that we talked about in the previous episode, you can ask the experts that you chatted with, right, that, hey, I follow your podcast, I love your work, read your book, I'm wondering if I can quote you on, and then ask them for and tell them the quote you'd like to quote them on. Now, maybe maybe you're uncomfortable with that. You don't want to ask them for a quote. Find something that they've written or that they've said and paste it into the email and let them know that that's the quote that you want to use. And then follow up later on when you publish your article, your content, whatever it may be, or when you use it in your Facebook Live or your TikTok, and send them an email and let them know that it's live. Then, maybe a day or 2 later, send them a second email, let them know that you've already started to receive some great feedback as a result of that quote. Now, finally, I know it sounds confusing, but it's really not. So far, what you've done is you've reached out to them saying, hey, I love your podcast, I love your work. I wonder if I can quote you on X. Or just find something they've already written or done and use that as what it is you want to quote them on and include it in the email. And then when you publish whatever it is, wherever you publish it, let them know it's live and that you're already getting some great feedback. Now, before you take the next step, I want you to wait a little bit. I can hear you now. How long am I supposed to wait? A day, an hour, a month? Well, maybe a few days. The key here is you want to wait long enough that it doesn't seem like what you're trying to do is just get interviewed, right? That's your primary goal in the first place, but not so long that they forget about you in the first place. Anyway, so give it a few days, right? I would say a week tops. And then go to this next step here is you want to send them an email, tell them what it is that you want to talk about that provides massive value to their listeners. Here's the key. You have to provide value to their audience. And in the process, make them look good while you're doing it, meaning you're giving their audience information that they need and want. So If we go with an example here, perhaps you teach on the topic of public speaking, and that the value that you can provide is showing how to become a better public speaker, as well as how to land that first paying gig. You can wrap that up in a pretty concise 30-minute chit chat with someone and share those bullet points with them. And here's a slow build. It's really great for this particular tactic. Use some of your early interviews on smaller podcasts. This will help you get your name out there and build up a momentum to help you get on even bigger podcasts, on bigger YouTube channels, and in larger publications. For example, you might start off being interviewed by people who are perhaps even brand new in your niche. They're hungry for an expert to come on their show and share their advice, right? This is going to be excellent practice for you. Hone your message, trim off some of that fat, find those points that really resonate with the listeners. That way, when you land or even approach the bigger players in your space, your message is ready to rock, and you can link to the interviews that you've already done. So now, when you send your next email, you might say something like, "Hey, Bob, I have to say I'm a huge fan of your podcast. And, don't just throw out empty platitudes. Be a fan. Have listened to some of their podcasts." And then continue on by saying something along the lines, "Hey, I know you've covered topic X, Y, and Z on your show, but have you considered A, B, or C," right? And you can do these in quick bullet points. And then finish off with, "I know your listeners would love these topics. I would like to come on your show and discuss or debate these topics with you." However you want to word it, right? Put it in your own voice. And I think a good extra point here would be to make sure you have what I call a one sheet, a media page, some folks call it. You can see an example at darkhorseschooling.com/one sheet. And you'll see it just has my headshot on there, good old handsome me, my name, some information about me, some of my social media accounts out there, the logos of different shows that I've been on, some topics I'm wanting to speak about. And this is all in bullet points. And that brings me back to this email that you're going to send. If you can make this, make this email quickly scannable. Because speaking as a podcaster that gets these pitches many, many a day, and I'm just a little guy in the big scheme of things, so I can imagine how many some of these bigger shows are getting. If you make it so someone can open that email and quickly scan it and see those bullet points and come across and go, "Ooh, yeah, I haven't considered that. That's a great topic," right? And then you can even finish off, by here's why your listeners will love this content, and here's how it will benefit them, and then add a couple more bullet points to let me come on your show, right? And it would be an honor because, again, as I mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of your show, and I believe I could add the value. Create that kind of personalized email that fits that show, and then after you've done that, then start playing the numbers game, because it is a numbers game. Let's be honest here. I just don't want you to go out there and do this shotgun spray and pray, creating this form letter that you send the same thing to everybody, right? Because, that's impersonal, and people, they see that right off the bat. Oh, because they're reading your email and they're going, well, what value is that to me? Whatever it was you wrote in the canned version, where when you create those just slightly personalized ones, then you can really drill in and say, well, I've listened to about 3 episodes of this show, and I haven't heard them talk about X, Y, or Z, and that just happens to be an area that you shine in. So let's shine your light on their audiences. But at the end of the day, the more podcasters, the more YouTubers, and the more publications that you approach, the more interviews you're going to get. There it is. Now, some interviews, let's be honest here, some interviews aren't going to bring in a whole lot of traffic, right? But they're good for the experience. And maybe later on, as that particular show, publication, or YouTube channel begins to build, then it might start bringing in some traffic. But others, the floodgates are just going to open and create this avalanche of traffic. Maybe that might even crash your server, right? If you're not prepared for it. And here's a cool little extra trick I would add in here. is whenever you go on a show, have a freebie or a giveaway so that when the host does say, if people want to learn more about you, where should we send them to? Well, then have some, hey, I've got the 35 tips for XYZ or the 10 ways to, and all you got to do is go to www.mywebsite.com/ and some easily rememberable code that they could add to that / that will get them that freebie. Now, you can put it behind an email gate, or you could just let them go ahead and download it right away. The key to adding this here is not just giving the freebie, but it is a great way to see what interviews are getting you traffic. All right, so what do we got here? We have given you, you got the free paid ads we talked about, right? Get out there and be controversial. Let's stir up, take a stance on something, and generate some traffic that way. Let's go out there and do some guest posting, right? And then we went on to commenting on other blogs in your industry. That also includes getting on the socials and getting in the commentary there, being social. And finally, as we just chatted about a bit more here, is get out there and get interviewed. Podcast is a great venue for this, as are any number of websites and publications that are out there that do interviews. I have a number of, 10 more traffic getting tactics that I want to share with you. But I want to share with you right now. We're going to go into some other content, but I want you to get out there. So today, the call to action on this show is not going to be, please go down there and subscribe, rate, and review my show. I want you to pick one of the tactics you've heard in the previous episode or in this morning's episode. I say this morning, you may be listening to this at night. In today's episode, pick one, just one, and go out there and give it a shot and give it the old college try, right? Don't just say, well, I tried it. Maybe you want to try push notifications from yesterday. You're going to put that up on your website, right? Get that out there, because that's probably a really easy one to do. It's a little line of code you put out there and people will start checking you out. And then you get out there and do the free paid ad. Find that $100 free coupon for ad spend on Google, create your ad, and start driving some traffic. Now, those two compounded together, you start driving that traffic to your website with that free paid ad, and now a good percentage of them, say 50%, 40%, do push notifications. Now you're already starting to layer, but do one at a time. Pick one, give it a shot, test it out, go around a couple of ways, and then do the next one. And then you start driving around, and then do another one. Okay, I've got my push notifications set up. I've done some free paid ad spend. Things seem to be going okay. Now that I've got a little bit of trickle of traffic coming in, maybe I'll do a contest. And because you got push notifications going to folks, you can tell them about the contest that's coming up. Get some of the entries in there. Use the continued revenue from the free paid ad tactic to continue to push folks. Now you've got a little trickle that's going to a faster trickle. Now, let's get out there and get interviewed and really drive some folks on there. Or let's go out and start commenting on other blogs and posts and Facebook groups in your industry so you can see more of the questions that are being asked. And then now you've got, oh, wow, people keep asking this one question. I know this podcast that keeps talking about this topic, and I haven't seen them address this question yet. Right? Get your answer together for that question and serve it up to get interviewed. See how it works? Just one piece at a time. Layer that onion together over and over and over again. So get out there, find that one tactic that you want to try first, and give it a shot. Then what I want you to do is email me, Tracy@darkhorseschooling.com. Tell me what one tip or idea you came away with, how you put it into action, and what results you actually got. I will bring you on the show if you do that and let you tell your story. Let's talk about your expertise. Let's talk about the success you got out of this. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you as I always do. Think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.